Hello.
Hi, there you are.
What up?
We figured it out. Yay.
Yay, technology.
Yeah,
We're
cool.
doing journalism.
Yeah, this is very serious music journalism.
I have like a precarious situation of boxes that I'm stacking my phone on top of
That's awesome. I'm just holding it and I'm sure
because
I'm
this is
ever gonna
journalism. I'm eating my,
um
my dinner, which is a chicken salad.
ooh,
Yeah, it's pretty good.
nice, healthy.
Yup.
I'm I'm eating my dinner, which is a sugar-free Red Bull.
Nice. Healthy.
Mm, yeah, free promo for them.
It's sugar free, so that's like, good for you.
It's good for you, yeah. That's what my
That's a
doctor's
healthy.
saying. So how are you today?
I'm good. So what's up? We gonna chat?
Yeah, like I
Have a little
figured we'll
chit
just
chat?
fucking talk about the record and yeah, I want it to be very like just conversational. I think would be cool.
Sounds good. Let's do it, girl.
Yeah, cool.
Let's yap.
You ready to jump into it?
I'm ready to yap.
Sick. Well, I've been listening to it a bunch since you sent me the copy, and I've just been thinking a lot about the record and try to put together some good questions. And I don't know, like I said, just kind of want to do back and forth and see where it goes. I keep feeling like you're gonna feed me some greens through the screen, but technology is not advanced there yet.
Here you go, girl.
Thank you.
Take your shit through the screen. Yum.
So, you kind of answered this a little bit in the video that you did prior, but I kind of wanted to touch on it a little bit to start off, which was with the gap in releases. So, with there being obviously like a 6 year gap between Pipe Dream and What's Another Night, and then we go 1 year between What's Another Night and Nothing Makes Sense Anymore. So you kind of just like jumped into, okay, here's another record. I know you had described it as being like stemming from a mental breakdown that you had, said that you felt like you were going to die if you didn't get the songs out. So like what was like the cause of that? And if this is too much to ask, then you don't have to go into it, but I'm kind of curious about that.
So there's a lot to this, and it's not just that. Like, so the reason why What's Another Night, a lot of the What's Another Night songs were like very old. They were like going back as far as like 2017. And then like we got almost to the point where we were going to record them, and then COVID happened. And then we like took a pause, and then we like went back into playing live shows and like completely reinvented our live setup. We went from playing as an acoustic band to playing with like a full live band with drums and everything, which is a very very different way for us to write and record and produce songs. So like the reason What's Another Night took so long honestly is because of those like technological hurdles of having to like record drums and like electric stuff, like which we didn't do for our first two records really too much. And I mean, this city isn't big enough as like a fully like live recorded album. We did it in 2 12-hour sessions, and that's it. So we kind of like evolved our sound through like those three records. And then I was like, I want to actually just like devolve our entire fucking sound and just like go back to what the city isn't big enough was, which was just like four fucking instruments played in a room together, like super raw. And like that's something we're very good at. And it's something we're very good at doing fast. Like we can write and record very quickly as a four-piece acoustic band, as opposed to having drums and tracking and doing everything separate. Like all of that takes so long. And it's annoying to me. And not only that, like I just think my songwriting personally really fucking shines acoustic. So I just like wanted to devolve back down to that for this album, and that was the big reason why we were able to do it so quickly. And I tend to write in bursts. Like I write a bunch of songs and then I don't write for years. So that's what happened over this past November, December. I had a lot of alone time. I was dog sitting at this like rich guy's mansion that had like a private gym and a sauna. And I was just like eating good food every day and like working out in my private gym. And like I just made it a point to pick up my guitar every day while I was there. And like almost every day of that stay, I wrote a song. So like by the end of that month, we had like an album. And yeah, then I had a really big mental breakdown. So the real tea is that me and Dan were dating for a decade. We're no longer dating. He left the band in May after our UK tour. So that was like a big precursor to that, was that I wrote all these songs. And then we broke up over the winter and like have been in like a healing process from that. And like recording this album was part of the healing process for both of us. It was we did it post breakup. Um, we had been like vaguely working on the songs before we broke up, and then we broke up, and then recorded the whole album in my garage in March. So right before we went on the UK tour. So it was also recorded entirely here at my house. Just a tiny bit of it was finished up at my drummer Ian's studio in down the road. But yeah, so that's the tea of the mental breakdown, why it took so little time as opposed to our other albums. I mean, part of it was also just being inspired by my friend Loams from Pigeon Pit. Like she put out 2 albums this year or last year.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
within the
year.
last
Yeah,
year, and they're both
within the
awesome.
last year, she put 2 albums out, and like that second one, Leisha Gresham. I was like reading an interview she did, and she said that it was like maximalist journaling. Like she just like journaled, like her songwriting process was just like journaling about her life on a daily basis, and that they just like really quick recorded everything. And like when it comes to like producing with like a big band, you can kind of overthink production a lot. And she was just like, I didn't overthink anything of it. I just did it. And like, that's exactly what I did with this record. Like, I didn't overthink anything of it. I was like, we're going to have guitar, violin, mandolin, bass. There's like one song that has like some keys in it, and that's it. We didn't overthink it. We didn't get crazy about anything. It's just songs. And like, I didn't nitpick my vocal takes. Like, all of them are live, because those are all things that you could get obsessed with and get hung up on. Like and they could drag the recording process. Trying to get that perfect vocal take can drag recording process out. And like, honestly, What's Another Night was partially drawn out because of things like that. And I just wanted to never do that again. I just wanted to like make a record like our first album where we just fucking winged it and we're us and imperfect, and it was awesome.
That's great. I mean, like, well, I have so many thoughts about that because that's such a great answer on so many levels. On one hand, it's like, okay, cool. The record is basically like the folk punk Fleetwood Mac Rumors, except with healthy people
Yeah, sort of. I
who
mean,
aren't
I don't know about the
psychosis.
healthy part, but like, yeah.
Well, at least healthy enough, like trying, not actively trying to destroy each other, and they do it
No.
on record too, which is great to not do
No.
that. So it's actually pretty beautiful, like in spite of everything, that it was such a healing experience and process. Like I love that. Also, just like with recording and putting stuff out and writing, I'm sure you know this, but like we get demoitis when we record stuff, spend too
Mm-hmm.
much time with it, spend too much time, like you said, obsessing over the details when recording. So just to like rip it out, I think captures an urgency there, which I very much feel in this record. Because I want to go to, like you had mentioned previously, that you consider the biggest influence on the record to be The City Isn't Big Enough.
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely a level of that I feel is there, in that like it has that same sound, that same like urgent sound, that same very live sound, like you said, like very stripped back. And I feel like it does really represent what it sounds like to hear y'all play live.
Mm-hmm.
And this record really captures that, which, like you said, y'all are great at. Like Apes, a great live band, a great live show, has great energy, and this record really does a great job of capturing that.
Mm-hmm.
um I did also feel like, having said that it did feel like maybe there was more, in a way, there were more varied influences throughout the record. um because I feel like you're kind of dabbling in sounds that I haven't really heard from you before. But
Mm-hmm.
while still very much being an Apes record, like
Yeah.
clearly. But like, I wanted to bring this up because you had joked about, I think it was like Spotify Wrapped or whatever last year, that had labeled you as
Yeah.
Celtic folk.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Celtic
yeah.
punk. And
Yep.
there are two songs on the record that very much lean into that.
Yeah. So that was like, I don't remember, when did Wrapped come out? Was that in whenever it comes out? That was definitely like, I think I intentionally was like, well, if I'm going to be called that by the AI overlords, I might as well lean into it. And it was also just kind of fun. I've never written in that style before. And like, I was thinking of Mischief Brew, and like, also, I was, um, I was very much like, I've done this thing on our records as we evolved where like I tried to not do the same thing I've ever done before, which led to me like having to come up with different chord progressions and all different stuff all the time. And like I very much went back to what I just did on This City, and I'm going to keep saying that, is just stealing chords, like stealing chords from songs and writing a new song over it. And like those like waltzy, like whatever chord progressions and like just jigs and things like that. Like it's just so, I was experimenting with how easy it really is to just write a song once you just don't obsess over the chord progression and you have like some melody built in there already to follow. And like really, like Mischief Brews really captures that style well, and like kind of has a formula to how they write songs. And like I've avoided having a formula, and sometimes I think formulas are good. So I just kind of like let myself play with having a formula, like especially like that song "Fascists Only Speak Violence." Like that
Yeah.
was a very like, this is a song we all know and have heard a million times
Yep.
before, even though it's a new song. Like we all know it already. Uh, I just wanted to lean into that. So yeah, that's where that stuff came from. I think it's very fun. Yeah, we've never delved into our Celtic side before, so that'll be a new thing for us on this album.
Yeah, and it's like it's full on that song in particular because it's just like, because obviously you have the jig as well, which is a little more like silly and lighthearted. But
Yeah,
this song is like, the song feels like an immediate like staple to me. Like could be
yeah,
a
you think
staple of
so?
the set. Very sing along type song, like something that people could easily get super into live. And yeah, it has that like Pogues esque like waltz to it, and I loved that, and I thought it was so funny just hearing like you all lean into that of like to me it was very clear of like, oh, she just went like, fine, we'll do Celtic.
Yeah,
Fun.
yeah, yeah. I just thought it would be funny for the bit. That's
Yeah,
funny that you say it seems instant classic-y, because I'm still like trying to figure out what'll be the cool like hits of this album. And like I did think about that one being one of the like how we play They Can't Kill Us All down in the crowd. Sometimes like that would be the new They Can't Kill Us All that scares liberals a
yeah.
lot, instead of actually like welcoming them in, like it will scare them.
I'm glad you say that too, because between that and the opening track, My Body Is a Weapon, which right out the gate, like classic Apes sound, ass
Right, yeah.
kicker in your face, in and out song. And I'm listening to this record for the first time. I hear that song, and then we get to the third track, Fascists Only Speak Violence. And I'm like, oh, great, this is the most violent Apes of the State record to date. Some
Yeah.
might say that's the House of Wolves effect, but not
Right,
me,
right.
but some might.
Well,
Um,
you know, I am whooping my girl, so
love that. Um, yeah, and like I love that. I just love that attitude and that energy to approach that, especially in this time and place, and like the references to Charlie Kirk and the failed assassination on our president and those things. Like hearing that represent the lyrics, I thought it was just done really well, and I think it could have really easily been something that like a lesser writer would sound really like either corny or kind of sloganeering. And in this case, it just feels like kind of just immediately classic to me. Like I was really, really excited about hearing it. And yeah, I could totally hear that song in particular being a in the crowd, everyone singing along type song.
yeah, this is definitely our most like anti-fascist, anti-capitalist record to date. I would say for sure. Like we
Yeah.
definitely went very hard on that. It's at least like half of the tracks are very like fuck everything that's going on right now.
Yeah. And then on top, but then the record also like, and when I mentioned like diverging influences or sounds that I haven't really heard, we get to I think what is the fourth and fifth tracks, Mainframe and Fractions. which I think are like two of the most delicate and beautiful songs you've written. I think, and I have to like kind of gush a little bit about these tracks because I was so blown away by these songs. I
Oh,
thought
thank
it was
you.
like some of your best songwriting to date, some of your best vocals to date. Um, the harmonies, the vocal harmonies at the end of Mainframe. I can't remember who's singing that.
That's Ness. That's Moth from Sister Wife Sex Strike partner in Life and Crime, and they sing on the Mother's Day Rogers record. I think they sing on a couple Sister Wife tracks too, and they're our official merch person. So yeah, they did those harmonies on that song and on Happy Birthday.
Those harmonies at the end of Mainframe are just like that is like transcendent to
Yeah,
me.
it's pretty good.
The meme of SpongeBob elevating like the ghost of Sponge, like levitating over the bed. Like that's how I felt listening to that. Um, what inspired you to write that song? Because I thought it was like it was really beautiful, and I feel like musically I was hearing um, just something different. Like it felt almost like alt country influences creeping in or something. Like I'm just kind of curious as to where that song in particular comes from.
Yo, honestly, I don't even know. Like when I can't explain that. Like I never sit down and try to write a song. Like I just will have my guitar and like this is where I'm gonna start to lose people and sound crazy. But like I am I'm in recovery. I believe in a higher power, and like I think that my higher power communicates with me through music specifically. And I think that sometimes that just comes to me that way. I wouldn't call it God because I'm not necessarily sure I believe in God or don't. I'm agnostic in that way, but uh, like it just appears. I just was playing my guitar and it appeared the whole song at once, and uh, I wasn't thinking of anything in particular when I wrote it. Stylistically, I was just singing from the heart. In that rich guy's house, he has like really big high ceilings, and there's a lot of reverb, and it's like a beautiful place to sing and play. So I was just kind of like playing with that, like drawing out, notes, which is something I don't typically do. It does remind me, it is reminiscent to me of like my old bandmate Max. Public Transit is what their music is under nowadays. Their style of singing. So like there's probably that influence in there somewhere, because it came from somewhere. I didn't just invent it. But yeah, singing from the heart, and then like the topic, I mean, that song just came out, and then I actually looked back at the lyrics and was like, what is this about? And what do I do with it? And then I rearranged some of the words slightly so that it sounds like a breakup song, but it's actually my intention was that it's about dementia. So Dan's mom was diagnosed with dementia in I think 2021, and she's been struggling with it for this whole time. And when I finished that song, lyrically, it was written with the intention that it could be either interpreted as Dan to his mom or his mom to him, uh, about the experience of losing her memory. And specifically, she has a form of dementia that affects the way you perceive what you're seeing. So she is essentially going blind. So that's what that song is actually about. I know it sounds like a breakup song, but it's about, uh, about about dementia and how it affects the brain. So
That's like so. And then listening to that song for the first time, like I didn't even I could hear like breakup song. I didn't necessarily think that, but I found it really beautiful and it brought me to tears knowing what the perspective you were writing from, like that chorus. Just thinking about it now, like, oh, that's so devastating. Like the just another day I'm living in the late stage, like, and
yeah,
that about dementia, that's incredible. That's really like I feel like you can be a very very direct writer and you're very good at that, and that approach works so well for you and what you do. And then I'm seeing songs like that on this record that feel a little more layered, a little more like not as so much on the nose, and it
right. You
feels
can
like
interpret that a lot of different ways. Like, yeah.
I think it's something to be proud of because I think it's a big like evolution in the songwriting, at least that you're presenting everyone. And like I just think that's so powerful. Like great job. That, I don't want this to just
Thank
be me
you.
the whole time, but like that's really really something else. I love that. Um, and then like I mentioned before, like Fractions coming after it, which is again one of your more delicate songs. Um, Something that to me brought to mind like Tim Barry or like Wide Awake It's Morning or era Bright Eyes.
Oh yeah, yep. That was a Bright Eyes influence song for sure. Like, I listen to a lot of Bright Eyes. I love Conor Oberst. He's one of my favorite songwriters of all time, and like that's what I was going for on that song for sure. We were doing a lot of Conor Oberst on this record in general. Like all those songs that are like just me pretty much, or just me, like Mainframe, Happy Birthday, and Fractions are a lot of room microphone and not like right up on my vocals and guitar. So it has more of a like distant, like they sound very distinctly different from the rest of the record, and they sound like distant almost. And that's like what we were going for with those, for them to sound a little more distant, a little more raw. Uh, and yeah, like I mean, I personally, if I were to rank the best songs I've ever wrote, Fractions is probably number one. Like I just think like I did, and I don't mean to like toot my horn, but like I think I did something really cool with that one. And again, that's another one that I just sat down and wrote. It just came out. You know, I was actually watching Forensic Files, which is something I do a lot when I'm alone. I just have Forensic Files on the TV, and then I'm doing shit, and they were talking about blood. So like I was picking up my guitar, and I just was like, that the first line, about half my blood came from my mom, just came, and then the whole rest of the song flowed after that. And you know, it's all about numbers and math, and the metaphors run very deep in it, and it's very personal to me. And it's also the only first and only Apes song ever that has been entirely produced by me.
Oh wow.
Specifically, while we were recording that one, Dan was like, I want this song to be just you. I want you to do any idea you want with it. Because Dan has taken a front seat with production for our band pretty much the whole time we've been a band. You know, we self produce, and a lot of it has been his direction. But on that song, he was like, I want this to be whatever you want it to be. So you decide. And we got Gray from uh, I keep wanting to say the old band name, but it's not. The Hellfires. Gray from the Cloverland and the Hellfires. They play in a lot of different bands out in West Virginia. To drive out to Lancaster to record that double fiddle part. They did a fiddle part and then doubled it. Yeah, it's like that was like the day of recording where we were like, we fucking did something today, you know?
That's like, and especially like I said with Mainframe, like the ending of that song being
Yeah.
me. Same thing with Fractions. Like when that double violin comes in, I truly like tears flowing down my face listening to that, just because I was like overwhelmed by what I was hearing. It's so powerful and lifting, and like especially at the end of this song, where you're really really bearing your soul in a very genuine and beautiful way. And like I feel like you're like almost hearing your voice break on that song a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. It's so genuine and emotional, and for that to be like the climax of the song is just, I can understand why you would say it's the best thing you've written. I'm inclined to agree for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we also just like let the violin kind of even almost drown me out in the end of that. Like, I was in the studio with Ian while he was mixing it, and I was like, no, we need to like put it up, put it up, put it up. Like, you know, we kind of ramped it, ramped it, ramped it. I was like, I almost want that violin to like drown me out. You know, that was the effect I wanted, because it's just so emotional at that point. And yeah, I mean, to me, that's the peak of the record. It's right in the smack middle of it. Sonically, it's probably the loudest thing on the whole record, which is like, that's what it should be.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I hope people like that song. It's always the songs that I'm like, this is my best song I've ever written. Like a lot of the time, people don't care about them.
girl.
So I hope that that is one that people like. And if they don't, it doesn't matter. It's still the best one I've ever written because I said so.
And I agree. And that's so funny you say that, because I have said this to Elise so many times with regards to the House of Wolves, where I'm like, the songs I think are the best I've ever written and the best I've ever put out, no one seems to give a shit about. No one ever
Right.
asked me to play. But I like listen to those records and I'm like, that's the one though.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
one day someone will we'll figure that out.
Yeah, no, and then, but it feels so good when somebody else says that, you know, like hearing you say that was so validating because I love your songwriting too. It's like always the real ones, you know, they'll be like, that's actually like Moth is always like Pipe Dream's your best record. And I'm like, yeah, girl, you're right. You're
Yeah.
so right. But like nobody else is going to agree with you, but you're right, you know?
Yeah. They'll catch up in time. Give it,
Yeah.
give it a few more years, and then everyone will go back to it and be like, "Wait, what? This is actually so good."
Yeah. We're just ahead of our time with our tastes here.
Yeah, exactly. No, it feels good to hear you say that because yeah, like I said, I mean, I do think that those songs in particular are like really like high water marks. And like, has your approach to singing changed at all? Because I feel like this record is some of your strongest vocals to date.
I think I just got better at singing because I sang for so long. Like, I mean, when I first started singing, I was just yelling like Pat the Money songs, and like I learned how to sing that way. And like just over time from singing, I just started to naturally learn how to hit notes and have better technique and things like that. But like I said on this record, I really didn't obsess about trying to get a good take. I thought about really what I admire about people's voices when I listen to them sing and the type of music I listen to. And like, I like when I hear a voice crack. I like when I hear human characteristic in voices and a little bit of a weird voice. Like, I don't really tend to listen to a lot of music that has like really perfect pitch vocals. And that's not what I care about when I listen to. So I had to learn to relearn how to apply that to myself, you know, because like you can get obsessed with trying to get the right note and this and that. And, you know, like going back to, I'm going to keep going back to it, but like remembering how I recorded the vocals on This City Isn't Big Enough, which is just that we played the songs like 4 times each and we picked the one that sounded the best. And I didn't go, oh no, well, that didn't hit this note right. And that part, like we just went with it. So we did the same thing on this record, you know, just went with it. You know, I made it a point to not think about it at all. So, I mean, yeah, I think my singing has evolved in the way that I stopped caring so much and just let myself be me again.
Yeah, it's that good mix of like time and experience, and then just confidence that comes with doing it for so long, and just peeling back that layer of worrying about perfection. But then, in just presenting it that way, you end up bringing some of your best vocals to date, which is awesome to
Right.
hear. Um, I did want to go back to the Champion, which I think is another really great, like very like classic Apes song to me. Which I think this record does a really good job of blending in like a good mix of songs that feel like the classic Ape sound, very folk punk, and then songs that are a little more varied. But the Champion definitely falls into the like classic Apes category. Is that song about a specific person? Is it a composite character of people? Like, what inspired that?
So it's funny that you say that it sounds like a classic Ape song because that's a Days and Days song.
Is it
Yeah, well, I mean, listen to it.
like is that a cover?
It's not a cover, but it's my original song, but it's written to sound like a Days and Days song.
Ah, okay, I could see that.
Yeah, we that song, I mean, Jesse is very open about his struggles with his mental health and his sobriety, and that song is about Jesse. He's a friend of mine. And I wrote it for him and I wrote it in his style so that it would be like a very Days and Daisy style. You know, Days and Days always has that melody they return to. So that's not always something typically Apes does, but Days and Days kind of always does that. You know, the so we did that for that one. The way it was produced, Dan put a lot of thought into that for his mandolin parts for that song to specifically kind of copy and play and reference some of Jesse's songs in that song. So if you listen closely to it, you might hear like some of his licks, you know, that are in other Days and Days songs. But yeah, that's the lore of the Champion.
I'm so glad I asked about that song because that is so cool to have been specifically about Jesse and then also to be writing from that like stylistic approach. Is that I love that. That's so layered.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun to write in a style that was very different from how I typically do. It flowed out pretty naturally, but yeah, I mean, it was cool.
Which is funny because again, because to me it genuinely just doesn't feel like super far off from Apes. It does feel like I can see what you're saying now that you say it, but when I hear it, it doesn't feel as like, not necessarily out of place, but it doesn't feel as different as some of the other stuff on the
Yeah,
record.
well, I mean, that just kind of also speaks to like how like sonically folk punk is a genre, you know? It's just
Yeah,
like it's gonna all bleed together, and we've all also influenced each other at points. You know, I've been friends with Jesse for many years, and we've listened to and been influenced by each other's music over the years. Like I remember at a point a couple years ago, I was talking to Jesse, and he was like, "Y'all are all about all I've been listening to lately." You know, so when you do that, you borrow and copy and just become mashed together in ways that you could then hear. So,
which kind of I think feeds into like the ethos to me of what a lot of what you represent and what the band represents, because it's like you have a very community driven mentality and spirit in what you do, and just how you approach other bands, how you try to bring other people up. Like you're always drawing attention to other artists in the community and kind of just using any sort of like platform that you have to do that, which is really cool. And yeah, like folk punk is a very shared thing amongst all of us. So when that happens in the actual songwriting, I think that's something really special that not you don't see in a lot of other places. And if anything, to me, feels more connected to like what you see in hip hop music,
mm-hmm.
where you see a lot of stuff being used from multiple artists,
Right,
lines
like
being,
sampling, yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, sampling, or just even like if the more the more you learn about hip hop and look into lyrics, you start to see these like through lines of like specific
Right.
lyrics being used
People
as like
reference,
classics.
yeah, people reference other or like borrow. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about that. People will be like, "You're stealing." I'm like, it's not stealing. Like, that's like, I love personally, the most flattering thing for me is if somebody stole,
Yeah,
you know, part of my song, and it's not stole, borrowed, was influenced by, took it and transformed it into something new. I had to learn this fucking term because the closer track, I don't know if you're going to talk about it at any
yeah,
point, but it's a straight rip off of Where Is My Mind by the Pixies.
of course.
And there's a term called interpolation, which
Yeah,
is apparently what I'm doing on that song, which is I took the chorus of that song and then inserted it into my song and then made a new song. So it's technically not a cover, but it's also not a sample. So that falls in some kind of like legal gray area that I've tried to contact Universal and say, hey, I did this thing. I'm gonna put the song out. Can we figure something out so that I don't get sued? And like they just never responded. So we'll see what happens when it's out. Might get sued, might not. But yeah.
I very much had in my notes written here to ask, like, when you were writing that song, like, did you like write the song with the intent of interpolating that chorus, or if you were just like realized as you were writing it that it had this like shared riff?
So that is like this is a thought I had recently, is that every great band has a song where they're just playing Where Is My Mind by the Pixies and they just made new lyrics over it. So I was thinking about my friend Emily, well, the local news legend. She has the song "Wake Up, Take These Pills, Go to Sleep." Oh, why can't I remember what the fuck the song is called right now? Come on, it's the closer track for the album we just put out. Anyway, I'm so dumb, but that's her song of that. You know, it's the "Where's My Mind" chords. It's in a different key, but it's the "Where's My Mind" chords, and it's just it's her song over it. And I was thinking about like who else has that? Oh, Prince, Daddy and the Hyena, the opening track for the Cosmic Thrill Seekers album. Like that song has that thing going on. And I was just like, man, like all the people that write awesome songs, they have one song where they just steal that Pixies chord progression. So I was like, I'm gonna do that. I sat down and I was messing around one day. That was actually the last song I wrote for the album. I was like, this album kind of needs like a stupid closer. And I like sat down and I was just playing that Pixies cover, and then I was like, it just came out. I was like, this is it. This is my Pixies. This is my Where Is My Mind song, and I'm gonna be blatant about it.
I
You know,
love that.
I'm not gonna pretend like I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna do it and be open about it.
I think that's what if you're going to do that, that's what you have to do, because like right from the beginning you hear that opening riff and you're like, this is Where's My Mind? And then when you get to that point in the song it's that like wonderful payoff where it like almost makes you laugh, where you're like, oh yeah, she's just going for it. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
I also really love the keys in that sound. Who was playing that?
That's Moth. I really when I wrote that, my vision for the production of it was I didn't have really any vision except for that. I knew I wanted keys on it. I was like, I want this song to be me and Moth with guitar and keys because she plays really great piano and doesn't really showcase it in her music ever. I think she didn't play keys on her Mother's Day Rogers record. I think she's done a little bit of keys like here and there for Sister Wives, but not really any full songs. And I was just like, damn, like I want to play keys so bad. That's like my next arc is I'm going to learn how to play keys and just like fucking write crazy piano ballads and shit. Because like I just think that's the coolest thing ever. And I just wanted an Ape song to have keys in it. Like it also has omni chords. So some of what you're hearing, that like synthy sound,
That
is
makes
an
sense.
omni chord. Yeah. Which is on every Apes record. We had an omni chord on every Apes record so far. So we were like, we got to sneak it in somewhere on this one. And that was the song that made logical sense to have it on.
It's cool because it has almost like a little bit of like a chip tune sound to it, but it
Yeah. Yeah.
feels very natural to the song.
Yeah. I love those things. Those are cool.
Yeah, agreed. Um, so it sounds like with the writing process, it's like it doesn't seem. I was going to ask if it's like if it's collaborative or if it's just you bringing songs. I mean, like here they are, and everyone kind of figures it out from there. It sounds like that's the latter is kind of the case.
Yeah, I like write very alone, and then I'm like, here's a song, and we tweak things after that. Not usually some lyrics get tweaked, but not too much. Structure, like for example, the "My Body Is a Weapon" was like written, done, and then like Dan was like that closing, the "bup bup" at the end, "My body is a weapon." Like he was like, you should go from the F to the G instead of just play, or the F to the C instead of just playing the C through that. So like just little things like that, like we'll kind of do shit. Like also the ending of the Champion, like that idea to have the but like the last four chords hit by separate instruments. Like we paired up. I think it was like me and Molly were together, and then Moth and Dan were together, or something like that. Like that was another idea that we came up with together. So yeah, as far as like the songwriting process goes, like mostly me by myself, and then the composition, I would say the band helps with that.
Has that changed at all over the years, or has that kind of always been the approach?
That's it's been the approach for the most part. I would say that this record was a return to being more collaborative than like our previous What's Another Night is like that's just a lot of me and Dan losing our minds, that record. And this record was a lot more like input from Molly on Molly back on the violin, which is awesome. Like writing a lot of their own parts on the violin, and like Moth just taking it away on the bass. Yeah, I would say this is like kind of a return, because that's what we did with this city. I just brought songs to a group. I said, let's make this sound like something. We dished it out together. And that's what we did for this record too. We kind of just came up with everything together, bounced ideas, listened to it a lot, and made decisions together about what we wanted for each song.
When you're writing, is it like is it usually just you starting to sit down, playing a riff, seeing what happens, and then writing lyrics from there? Do you write lyrics first ever, or how does that work for you?
Typically, everything comes at once, and I think especially for every song on this album, that was the case. There's been like Pipe Dream. A lot of the songs on Pipe Dream were written like a cappella, and that like I sang them. I came up with the melodies, and then I put music to them after. But yeah, this record was very much like I made an intentional point to pick up my guitar every day for a while, and the songs flowed out. I'd hit it, I'd start playing some chords, and a song would come out. So it's definitely like a all at once type thing. I don't tend to ever really write lyrics first or music first.
That's cool. Yeah, and like I said, like with that process, I feel like that lends itself to how urgent and immediate the record feels, where it does feel very much just like jumping out from the speakers at you. And I think that's it's great. It's very much like what I think kind of ideal peak Apes to me is.
Yeah, it's definitely like a little annoying in a good way. I was like, damn, I'm annoying. Like I'm leaning into like being annoying again instead of trying to like Like our first record, I was like, yeah, I'm annoying, and I don't care. And then like our second and third records, I was like, maybe I don't want to be annoying all the time. Like maybe I want to like make some things that aren't it. And then like now I'm just like, yeah, I'm fucking annoying, and I don't give a fuck again about it.
I feel like when I allow myself to just be like, you know what, I'm a dumb bitch, that
Yeah,
is where I
exactly.
make my best work. So I feel that deeply.
Like just
Um,
letting yourself live in pettiness for a second. Like my body is a weapon. I was just like, yeah, like fucking, I'm being petty and bitchy, and like that's the shit. Like
yeah,
actually,
it is. And especially to kick off the record because it feels like a mission statement of
yeah,
like,
yeah,
here you go, right off the bat, we're telling you, I'm going to fuck you up. And
yeah.
that's wonderful. And then, like, speaking of like very like classic ape songs, like I Saw God.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
That is just like, I mean, it's the first single, which I think obvious choice, makes perfect sense. Um, so did you actually see that? Is that based off a real story, something that happened, or just something you thought of?
I mean, not really. I will say, I will admit that I didn't see a specific man screaming at the sky. It was just a concept I was loosely thinking about. That song was inspired by the first two songs off Leash Aggression by Pigeon Pit. I was actually at that rich guy's house. He always has like CNBC like blaring shit about stocks on the TV when I get there, and it was on, and they were talking about stocks and how they're record high, and I'm like, okay, they're record high, but like I drove through downtown Lancaster to get here, and there's a lot of homeless people there. There's a lot more than there was last year. So like, what is actually fucking going on here? And yeah, I sat down and just wrote it. That was my vision for the record, was actually that song would be the opener, because I felt like it set the tone of everything in a good way. But Dan was like, no, like my body as a weapon is the obvious opener. Like that's going to be it. And I was like, you're probably right about that. You know, that doesn't mean that this song isn't very important and doesn't really encompass everything I think that's going on right now in a good way. So that's why I chose it for the first single, is because I think it kind of sums the record up in a good way. It's a song about how we're all dealing with late stage capitalism in different ways. So, you know, you could lose your mind about it, and maybe get thrown in a psych ward or thrown in a prison because you're doing your best to fight it in various ways. You could succumb to it and just be soulless corporate piece of shit. You can get very depressed and use drugs. You could be like me, which is that I just keep fucking doing shit constantly to try to escape everything. I'm like, if I just keep moving, I could outrun all of this. You know, that's my thing. Eventually, it catches up here and there, but overall, I do my best to try to stay active, stay distracted, and help make the world a better place in the ways I can in my community. But yeah, so yeah, I think overall it's a positive message about community, the power that we have in community, and that like when it comes down to it, we take care of each other. We are like our own gods, our own destiny. We create our own destiny here on planet Earth. So um, yeah.
Yeah, like just the lines about like listening to this homeless person screaming and how it's starting to make more sense. Seeing more of God in that person than any politician. Like, yeah, those are things to be. I think it was very well put because yeah, that's the truth. Like for the average person, if you take a second to consider the reality that we're all in, like yeah, we're a lot closer to that person than the people making any
Right.
actual decisions. So
Yeah, it is. And it's interesting because I did, my attached neighbor is the Reverend of a church here in Lancaster, the Episcopal Church, and she's a big fan of our music. So she invited us to play as part of a mass service, which is very interesting and full circle for me as somebody that got kicked out of Catholic school for being gay, to be asked in my 30s to perform and have our music featured as at a mass service. Again, I'm agnostic. I'm not like, you know, a God, you know, person. Really, I don't go to church often or anything like that, but I love my neighbor. Most importantly, I love my neighbor, and I love our community. And it was to help raise money for the school district of Lancaster. So I was like, yeah, of course I'd do it. And that was the opening song we chose. And we played a couple other songs, nothing from the new record, but that song. We played that one. And as part of the service, they really analyzed the lyrics of that song and a lot of our other songs. And it was cool, and talked about them and, how they tie into Jesus's message, God's message. And it was a really cool perspective to hear as like somebody that's agnostic, and I'm just writing from my experience, that people can have a totally different interpretation of it, but that actually is in alignment. Like our values, my values and my neighbor's values are aligned. And that's the moral of it, like, and when we can build bridges with people that are different from us in ways like that, that is community, that's power, that's coming together. And Lancaster is a city that is very deeply Christian. A lot of the mutual aid here is run by Christian organizations, so it's hard to escape. If you want to try to do things for the community here, you're going to have to work with people that hold different views than you. And I think that's like a very important thing to, obviously we don't have to tolerate hate, but it is important to like remember that our neighbors are people, humans first and foremost. And, we help each other regardless of what our political beliefs are. If my neighbor's hungry, I'm going to feed them. So yeah, that song in particular was pretty cool, and as the single, and it definitely like resonated with my neighbor, the Reverend, deeply because of course, the God reference, but also just the end of it, talking about seeing the humanity in somebody that is in poverty. Is that was Jesus's message? Was just that God and the rich aren't going to get in heaven. The meek shall inherit the earth. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, as a fellow agnostic, that's like, yeah, that's the funny thing, is that like the teachings of Christ is really just like the same type of shit that we all care about and believe in, which is like caring about one another and being a good person. And what being a good person means is just like actually giving a shit about the world around you and the people around you, whether or not they're your close friends or family. And just trying to like build a better world through your own community and things like that. So I think it's very cool and important to find that through line and connection with people who might, think that we're very different in our mentalities, and show them that like we're all on the same page here. It's just that the other stuff gets in the mix and gets in the way, but like in reality, we just need to care about each other.
Right. And views can be weaponized by anybody. So like Christian views have very obviously been weaponized by a lot of people in this country, and historically has been weaponized. So it's just like remembering and acknowledging that like we can hold views and not weaponize them against our fellow human.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. I think we're getting close to the end of my question. We've been doing this for a while, which is awesome, by the way.
We're at an hour almost.
I think this is really good. With the jig for straight man, was that written in advance, like, or was that something you just came up with on the fly? Because I could totally see that being either way.
I think that might have been like the first song I wrote for this album, if I'm being honest. Great. And I think I was just like messing around on the guitar in my living room one morning, and like I was like, like I just played a melody. I was like, that's like the Mischief Brew Coffee God. Like it's reminiscent of that, which I know how to play on the guitar. So I think my fingers were kind of there, and I just was messing around, and I just wrote the little melody, and then I was like, I just sang it. And then I was like, this is funny. Look, it's a jig. And then I was like, well, it doesn't really make sense for me to sing this because I'm not a straight guy. So let's make the straight guy in our band sing it, and we made Ian sing it. And he has a group of he's in the group called the Susquehanna Shantymen, which are it's a bunch of dudes that sing shanties together, which I think is like the greatest form of practicing masculinity. Like we need to like encourage healthy masculinity, and like that to me is the peak of it. Like bunch of dudes get drunk together and they sing songs. Like, let's fucking go. Keep it up, boys. So I was like, I'm going to have them, feature on it. Because, like, we need our dudes, and we need our dudes to have healthy outlets. for
Yeah,
their stuff. So get them together and sing some shanties. Sing some shanties with the boys.
I did like that you referred to this record as being the least gay Apes of the State record, simply because that is the 10% of the record that is not gay,
And
but
then,
it
but it
also kind
is
of is
gay.
gay.
Yeah, but it is gay because it's about wanting to kiss a boy as a straight man. So
It's perfect. Um, do you have like are there influences outside of music for you that inform, like, obviously outside of like just like the world, but like in media, like art, film, literature, do you ever find yourself inspired or influenced in your songwriting by anything in those worlds?
yeah, this is actually a cool one. So I had to explain. I was talking to my partner about uh the closing song about Nothing Makes Sense, and she asked about the data line where I hope your data's next to mine. And I was like, that is a reference to the Black Mirror episode San Junipero. Have you ever seen it?
I think I've saw a couple episodes that show
Okay,
it.
so in the San Junipero episode, I mean, I won't give it away for anybody that wants to watch it, but essentially they're living in a simulation, and the final one of the final shots scenes is like a picture of the data center that everything is hosted in, and there's like a two blinking lights like next to each other for those two people that are in the simulation together. So that's what I was thinking of when I wrote that line, is like that final scene of that episode of Black Mirror. You know, the things were so weird this last fall and winter for me, and I think the world at large, that it did make me question if we were living in some kind of fucked up simulation a lot of the time, and that's a theme that the record comes back to here and there. So
Yep.
yeah. Um, Aside from that, on this record, I wouldn't say that I was super influenced by any other media. I mean, I do read a lot, but mostly true crime. So I don't really write that kind of stuff. So maybe not so much. But I mean, I will say that there's at least two songs that were directly influenced by Forensic Files now. The song, obviously, Forensic Files by Apes of the State and Local News Legend, but then also Fractions, with that first line being like, just because the Forensic Files was in the background and then Blood, came to my mind. So, yeah, maybe Forensic Files is an influence on my music more than I know.
That's incredible. Of all things, and
Right.
like I think it's super important to have a good mix of like highbrow and lowbrow culture in everything we consume and everything we create. So that's like a really good, just like finding that middle ground in between all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I just like Peter, the narrator from Forensic Files. I just really like his voice. I find it very soothing, and I could fall asleep to it at any moment. Just
It's
put
the
that
perfect
on.
put it on and do things and
Yep,
have
it's
the
the perfect
background.
background music. It was probably on in the background for me writing most of this album.
That's awesome. I love
Aside
that.
from aside from I Saw God, which was CNBC, because I had just arrived at the house I was dog sitting at and it was still on the TV.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes I just leave that shit on, and Fox will be on the TV, and I just leave it on to see what we're dealing with. I'm like, what are we dealing with this week, like with these idiots? Like what are they believing this week? What reality are they fucking concocting? Just like it's like field research. And yeah, it's always interesting. I get a lot of inspiration from that.
Yeah, it can be painful, but it is important to see what reality they're espousing,
Right, right,
especially when you find out that like approval ratings for the current administration are like 30 something percent. So no one,
right,
people, less and less people are on board with any of it, but they're not going to stop pretending that that's the way it goes.
right.
Um, so with so well, I have a couple other quick questions that because I threw out some stuff on folk punk Reddit to see if anyone had questions.
Oh, cool.
Mostly nonsense. But there were a couple real questions. But before I get to that, I do want to ask, like, you have a tour with Cheek Face coming up. Like, how did that come together? Are you trying to branch out more with non-folk punk acts, or?
They hit us up last year to tour with them then. I mean, we didn't work out last year for us, but they're just a band that likes us and we like them. And like I said, they hit us up last year, it didn't work out, so they hit us up again, and we were like, well, it works this year. We didn't have much on the books because the band was in a state in a flux with me and Dan breaking up, him leaving the band. That's like a big change for us, and we're still kind of sorting through what we were going to do for the year. With touring and such in light of that. And it just felt like a good move to do. We've never actually done a support tour. We've never done a full tour really, where we are the opener band for a different headliner. We just, our whole career of being a band has been like grassroots DIY building a fan base from playing to like 5 people at a basement show to 10 people to 20 people up to like when we tour now, we headline at, 300 people or whatever, and we bring our own openers. So we've never actually done that. We've never been the opener for another band. Like we've done it here and there for like the Taxpayers. We played 1 or 2 shows. Bridge City Sinners played Days and Days, played 1 or 2 shows opening for them, but we've never done a full tour. So we were like that. We actually thought it might be a nice, relaxing experience for once after like 10 years of touring, really heavily headlining every single show, having like all the pressure on us to, perform for our fans every night. We were like, what if we just, we were the opener. It was a little less, not, I wouldn't want to say stakes, a little less pressure, but also the fun of like winning over somebody else, a new fan base is cool. Like we don't get the opportunity very much anymore because we have our own fans to play for people that have never heard us before. And that's something that I love doing. It's something that I really loved about the rehab tour I did with Miles Bolin a couple years ago, was that we were going into rehabs and playing, and like none of those people had ever heard of Apes of the State. They were just like,
Right.
who's you? Like that's a humbling and great experience. And it's also cool to watch people's eyes light up for the first time when they hear that line that they really identify with, like, because like we get people singing them back to us now. We don't get that wow like moment of somebody
Right.
hearing it for the first time. So like that's the excitement in it for us, is, and for me personally, is that like I'm excited to like play for new people that have maybe never heard us before. But all right, Cheek Face is kind of in the same realm as us, where it's like very witty, clever, talk songs. So I think that there actually is a lot more fan overlap than people might realize, or that you might realize initially. Like I know a lot of their fans are very excited to see us, and a lot of our fans are excited to see them. So I think we'll synergize well.
There's definitely overlap, and yeah, I think it's like kind of the perfect band for y'all to go on tour with, in that it will permit you to like perform to new people, but won't be so out of scope that it can be like a daunting kind of challenge. I think it fits pretty naturally, and it's
I don't think we'll scare them too bad. Like I don't think
no.
I think we'll scare them later, but we'll get them first. And
Yeah.
that's the plan. Like we made our set list for the Cheek Face tour, and we were like, should we put fascists only speak violence on it, or should we save that one for a headline? And that, we were just like kind of catering it. Like, are we going to scare people with this, or are we going to rope them in? And we kind of picked like a middle ground for that set list, where we're like, it's got a lot of good shit in it. It'll scare them a little bit, but not too much. It'll scare them into wanting more, and then
Yeah.
they'll show up at the folk punk shows, and then next thing you know, they're going to be trans, Antifa, the whole 9 yards. We're all going to be in the camps together wherever they send all of us. Eventually, we're fucked. That's the goal.
Do you have any other like album touring plans after that?
We're just getting together to map for the rest of the for 2027. So
Cool.
a good time to announce that Elliot from Doom Scroll is who's going to be playing mandolin and guitar with us for the Cheek Face tour. And he's also going to be continuing through the end of the year. We have a couple more shows to announce for the winter. Our holiday show, of course, every year that we do in Lancaster. And then we don't have, this is like one of the first years, I don't have anything booked for next year, but we're plotting. We're going to have a business meeting on album release day next week, and we're going to plot our next year of touring out and what we're going to do for that. So yeah, we'll tour for sure. I mean, we always do. We want to play these songs. Like, we love this record, so we want to get out there with them.
Do you think you're gonna start like? Do you see yourself getting back into the writing fold quickly again, the way it was from the last record to now, where it came out in a quick burst, or do you think you're gonna just sit with it for a while and not worry about it?
I don't care if I ever write songs again. I mean, and that's how I always feel about like when I write an album, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm good. I don't need to write. Like I don't force myself to write. I just let it burst out of me when it needs to, and like it did, got it. I don't worry about writing more or when I'm going to write more or nothing like that. So not a concern of mine, but yeah, I mean, yeah, we're excited for playing the songs now. And I'm just going to live life and enjoy life.
Hell yeah. Love
Yeah.
that. Love that answer. Um, I did. So the quick other questions I had, someone asked, and I thought this was a good question. They wanted to know how the collab with Friends in Real Life came about, what the process was like, how you felt about doing that. Obviously, with that being a huge person in the world that we live in folk punk.
I over a series of a decade strategically befriended every friend of Pat the Bunny to get to him eventually, and it worked.
Yay.
The power of friendship. If you have enough mutual friends with somebody, eventually they pay attention. They have to pay. They are forced to pay attention to you because all their friends will keep saying, "Hey, April's a cool person. She's not weird. She's totally not going to stalk you. You should here's her phone number. You should text her." And then I got a text from Pat one day, and I was like, "Pat the Bunny himself just texted me. That's fucking crazy." But yeah, that's how that happened. Pepe from DIY Bandits, I think, was a big hand in that. Brooke Pridemore is a close friend of Pat that I've been close with for years and years and years. Just Chesky, has done splits with Pat, has known Pat his whole career. So he's another close friend of mine. Eventually you just work your way into people's hearts. And he asked if I would remix that song with him. And yeah, that's how that happened.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. It's a long process, but you get there in time.
Yeah, you just have to, 10 years. 10 years of being friends with people, 10 years of playing music, 10 years to meet Pat and make a song with him, and also 10 years or 9 years or so to meet Sean from AJJ and play a show with them. So things take time.
Yeah. Yeah. Several people asked about Faustian deals that you may or may not have made. Just so you know, people are out there wondering about whether or not you're making Faustian deals.
What is that?
Like a deal, a Faustian deal, like a deal with the devil, a sort of like devil went down to Georgia kind of thing, is what they're hinting at.
Did I make a Faustian deal? I've never even heard that word before. I'm so dumb. I don't think I sold my soul to anything to make this record. I think that it's just me. I sold into myself again, I cried a lot when I was writing these songs. I just let myself be me, and I loved myself fully.
Yay.
So if I sold my soul to anything, it was myself. I sold my soul to my own damn self.
you didn't sell your soul. You shared it very graciously with all of us.
Sure.
And we're very thankful for that. And I think that is like the perfect note to end this on.
Thank you.
Do you think we did a good job here today?
We did so good. We're journalists.
Yeah.
We don't.
My fucking girl dick, Anthony Fantano.
Yeah, there we go. We don't need that shit. We don't need clout. We just need my friend from Ohio, JV.
Yes, exactly. Yo, thank you for sending me the record. Thank you for wanting to do this. I just thought it would be cool and fun. I'm like, I just want to talk to my friend April about the record. Like,
Exactly.
if you're not getting coverage from these like other big sources, like let's just do it like we do everything else. And I think this was really cool.
Two girls just yapping.
Just yapping. Well,
Yeah.
I will not take up any more of your time. I will send you what I have. I'll put it on like a Google Drive or something. We'll figure it out.
Sounds good. We'll edit it up and make it all cool.
Sounds good. Well, enjoy the rest of your night. It was so good to talk with you.
You too. Love you. Bye.
Love you too. Bye.